Hey guys, Josh here from Sportitude Running. It's shoe review time and we're going to be talking all things ASICS Gel Nimbus 24. Nimbus 24 has Flight Foam Blast Plus technology, and what that means is they have engineered the softest Nimbus to date. A really effortless run underneath the body. We have gel cushioning underneath the heel, twist gel through the forefoot, but the magic is that it's encapsulated in that Flight Foam Blast technology. Also, the upper is an engineered mesh through the forefoot, and as you come back we have a knitted tongue, which is new to ASICS, and also it is a gusseted construction, so you get a really supportive feel on top of the foot as well. High mileage, neutral shoe, designed for the runners out there that want to be out on the road for plenty of miles. It's going to last quite a long time, plenty of cushioning, plenty of protection, and in today's review we're going to go over the upper, the outsole, the midsole, give you all the information that you need at home to, who knows, make this your next daily trainer. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. Before we dive into the review on the 24, let's discuss with you out there what foot types should be considering this shoe. So I have thrown out the neutral word a couple of times in the intro, and what that means is a runner that has a foot type that looks something similar to this in a static position. So again, putting a neutral foot on a flat surface, standing there like this, you'll see the higher arch, a little bit of space between the arch and the ground. And when this runner comes through their gait cycle, be it heel or midfoot striking, majority of the pressure will be through the central part of the foot or towards that lateral side. So for that runner that supinates as they come through their transition, getting the foot ready to then engage and toe off. However, I'd like to point out the fact that there are some neutral runners out there that will have a static position that looks something like this. So the foot itself will sit like so on a flat surface. The arch will be a little bit closer to the ground. However, when this runner comes through their transition, there won't be as much bias towards that lateral side. Most of the pressure will be through the central part of the foot. And I have spoken about this previously. If a runner has a slight tendency to overpronate, I still feel the Nimbus will be okay. Now that happens to be myself. I can run in neutral shoes, being a mild overpronator, and I don't find the Nimbus 24 to be anything but comfortable and supportive. Okay, the fun stuff starts. Let's talk about the Nimbus 24, compare it to the 23 in some aspects, and give you all the information that you need at home. So I'd like to start off with the upper with this shoe first, because there was considerable change with what ASICS have done to improve the fit and comfort of the Nimbus 24. Starting off with the back of the shoe itself, there's a lot of similarities between the heel counter and the collar from the 23 to the 24. So we still have an internal heel counter construction, a really nice amount of memory foam inside that heel collar, and it does have a slight tendency just to lean in ever so slightly towards that Achilles. So it doesn't have that Achilles flare, which seems to be a real popular engineering concept from a lot of running shoes out there, but this shoe does not need it because ASICS have got the construction, that internal heel counter right, with the exact amount of memory foam on the inside. Really good construction, very comfortable at the back half. Probably the biggest and my favourite piece of the upper is the new tongue. It is a new knitted construction, insanely thin, so therefore you're going to get a bit more ventilation through your foot on your longer runs. However, the gusseted system sits on that medial side and the lateral side, so you get a really good, strong, I wouldn't say strong, it's probably an over-exaggeration, really good, comfortable, supportive fit with regards to the tongue. Coming through to the forefoot, engineered mesh, plenty of breathability on offer, and the contrast between the heel counter, the tongue gusseted system, and that forefoot works really, really well. One thing to point out in comparison to the 23 from last year is it does fit a little bit narrower and marginally shallower through the front half, and they've been able to achieve that with a new tongue and a little bit of a change with the engineering with that upper. I don't think it's going to be a problem for you runners out there. If you happen to be a D width previously in your 23s, you're still going to be a D width in the 24s. And the great thing about the widths is this shoe is available in widths. B and a D in the ladies, a D, 2E and 4E in the men's. So when brands make their premium shoes, be it neutral or supportive, having an available widths makes life a lot easier for your shoe fitters out there, which is a great thing. Diving down to the outsole, the part of the shoe that protects the asset, the midsole, from all the elements being your bitumen and pavement surfaces out there. So looking at the outsole, there's not a lot that's changed in the 24 from the 23. So it's still the same configuration with regards to the amount of flex grooves on offer through the forefoot, and the same configuration with regards to the positioning of that outsole in the back half underneath your heel for those heel strikers out there. A couple of tech pieces. We do have the AHAR, ASICS High Abrasive Rubber Plus system, which is going to wear a little bit nicer to the back half of the shoe for those heel strikers. Remembering heel strikers hit the ground marginally harder than your midfoot and forefoot runners, so it's important for them to have a slightly harder wearing rubber in that entry point for your heel striker. The probably biggest change with regards to the outsole has been the removal of this medial truss stick device on the 23. We don't see it here in the outsole configuration of the 24. However, we'll talk about midsoles in 2 ticks, but they have integrated a torsional stability system through the midsole, which we'll touch on in a second. So a little bit more exposed foam underneath the foot itself through here. That's that Flight Foam Blast Plus technology. Really soft compound, so it'll be interesting to see how this wears over time. I think it's going to be fine. And the other thing to point out as well with the flex grooves is that the 23, if you look very closely, the 23 had slightly deeper cups or decoupling lines on that horizontal plane with regards to the 23 in comparison to the 24. So why we think that's the case? Well, last year's model was a slightly firmer midsole, still very cushioned. This year, they've made the midsole softer, so therefore they couldn't cut it too deep in those decoupled horizontal lines through here. The shoe itself would have been way too flexible and you would have lost a fair bit of support. We're only talking about a millimetre maximum here, but it does make a big difference, not only in the performance, but the longevity of your midsole. Okay, let's talk all things midsole in the 24. Now, I really like this shoe. I said it in my intro. This is by far the easiest Nimbus I've ever run in straight out of the box. The main reason being is the magic is in the cushioning of this shoe. As we've said a couple of times, we have Flight Foam Blast Plus technology. What that means for you at home is this foam underneath the foot, which is protecting you from the ground, is a softer compound. It runs really nicely. It's very consistent from your entry to your release point, which is a good thing because technically speaking, when we're looking at Nimbuses gone by, there is a lot going on with their midsoles. There's gel pods, both heel and forefoot. There used to be a really sort of detailed torsional stability on offer. Sometimes we found it to be a little bit stiff for some runners. However, this has been the most consistent Nimbus straight out of the box that I've ever run in, and I am proud to say I've really enjoyed this shoe. Couple of statistics on your 24, so in comparison to your 23s. The heel to toe drop is exactly the same. It is a 10mm heel to toe variance. However, they have jacked up the stack by 1mm. 26mm in the heel in regards to the men's and a 16mm forefoot for a variance of 10. Last year it was a 25-15 with regards to the Nimbus 23s. Still a 10mm offset, but a little bit more shoe underneath the foot. Ladies is a bit different though. So ASICS, like some brands out there, do engineer their midsoles to perform, or to be, pardon me, ever so slightly different to the men's. The ladies in the 23s, pardon me, in the Nimbus 24s is a 28 in the heel to a 15 in the forefoot. That's a variance of 13mm. Last year it was 27-14 in the Nimbus 23s. Again, 13mm offset. Now it's important to know those statistics out there because ASICS have done this, and they do it with a lot of their geometry positioning, their 3D technology underneath the midsole to aid for how predominantly how women enter the ground in comparison to men. So there's been a lot of research out there. ASICS are a research brand, so when they do engineer a shoe, it is based on some serious objective data, and nothing is changed with the Nimbus 24s. So going over the statistics now, let's get stuck into the juice of this shoe. So as we touched on, we do have the gel cushioning at the heel that has been strategically placed underneath this part of the shoe itself. Your heel strikers get a little bit more cushioning, and underneath your first metatarsal there is a twist gel around the size of a 10-cent piece here in Australia, and that sits underneath your first metatarsal to provide a little bit of extra support through that forefoot for that big toe to engage and get ready to toe off. The other great factor of this shoe is the white foam, which you see I'm holding in my hand through here, is that Flight Foam Blast Plus. Really soft cushioning underneath the foot. However, the light blue foam, it doesn't have any statistics written on it. However, we feel this might just be a traditional Flight Foam technology. Again, reached out to ASICS. It's a slightly firmer foam than what we have in the white Flight Foam Blast Plus. So therefore, you need that contrast. You need a bit of extra stability when you're putting it on top of a soft foam. What I did speak about a minute ago with regards to the outsole is the truss stick system. While ASICS have used truss stick in the outsole, like this Nimbus 23 through here, we have seen it introduced into the midsole, so it's slightly off the ground. This little plastic construction sits pretty much on this same medial side of the shoe itself, so it will provide a little bit of extra torsional stability for that runner coming through mid-starts. The great thing about it is tucked away from the outsole, so it will provide a slightly more consistent roll through mid-starts to toe off, which I think is a really good thing with the 23s. Let's talk about the weights. So we got a big change with regards to what's on offer. We have 292 grams for a men's size 9, 252 grams for a ladies size 7. In comparison to last year, big change, 310 grams in the men's size 9 and 260 grams in the ladies size 7. So a big change, and it's noticeable. Sometimes weight variances, it's hard to pick up on the foot, even something for 10 to 15 grams. However, step into the 24s in comparison to 23s. Softer, lighter, smoother ride underneath the body. What I think this shoe is going to do in the year of 2022 is change how we think and perceive Nimbuses to perform on the road. It is nothing like a Nimbus gone by for me personally. I still think this is going to be a great shoe for the Nimbus lovers out there that have used it for a bit of walking, some gym, some daily athleisure sort of wear and tear. This is still going to perform absolutely fine for you guys out there. However, the runners that have been searching for something a little bit lighter and a little bit softer, 24s is going to play right into your needs and requirements. This was such an honest shoe last year. Almost dropped it. This was such an honest shoe last year. It was a great performer. However, the feedback was that it was still a little bit too heavy and dense. And that's a big thing because I still think this is a smooth shoe. I did like what it was doing. But 24, big change, but keeping those real consistent ASICS vibes, being that it's a stable, neutral shoe and it needs to be honest and it needs to be reliable, and it's still all of that. It's just in a lighter, softer package. If you've been using Vomero 16s or your Glycerin 19s, I'd even say Triumphs out there. This is certainly lighter than Triumph. Those three shoes from your competitors are pretty similar to what you would find with your Nimbus 24s. And I have said this downstairs, and I did say it in one of my previous videos, but my first step in with Nimbus Lite version 1 was love at first sight. I love that shoe from the get-go. I have a similar feel with the 24s. I love what it does for me with regards to the weight and the cushioning. It's going to be a great shoe. It's going to be consistent. Looking forward to putting some more clicks in the 24s, that's for sure. So guys, if you've got any questions with this shoe, drop it in the comment section below. If you've been a Nimbus lover previously, let us know your favourite model. We'd love to hear from you guys, the running community out there. And until next time, guys, stay safe, be kind to one another, happy running, and we shall see you out the road. Take care.